thriving market, and it could be growing and thriving here in Georgia as well, but it isn't accurate to say that we aren't using it for apparel and other.
So it can be thriving and growing here as long as we allow Delta 8, Delta 10, and Delta 11 in the products?
Yes, and I believe that it is important.
So THC containing isomers.
THC, I think, is a very important part of the whole plant medicine. And I know that we have two different categories here in Georgia of medical marijuana and hemp-derived Delta-8 products. But we need to know that THC is a healing element. So it is not just people purchasing it to get high or to use it for recreational purposes. It is also used medicinally. It is sold here in Georgia.
I know we got a whole commission that handles that.
Yes, so I just want to make sure, because we are lumping so many categories into one bill, we're now crossing territories, and we need to slow down, have a conversation, and be clear on these categories.
Okay. Thank you. Catherine Russell from the Department of Agriculture. No, it's mine and Kay's and the guy from the industry and the agri, all combined.
Good morning,
Good
committee
morning,
members. Good to see you all again. So we are grateful that this committee sub introduces or incorporates some of the changes that we were interested in having. But I actually have some concerns with the way that some of the other changes were introduced. Particularly, we now have an expansion of what THC means, which includes Delta 8 and 10 and whatnot. Those changes were not incorporated into the rest of the bill, where we only look at Delta 9, because that's the only thing that's been outlawed so far. So essentially, there'll be no enforcement mechanism to actually address the new forms of THC that we're recognizing. I probably also would have recommended.
Does this give us, you guys, that enforcement mechanism there? I mean, this just folds it into yours.
It doesn't. We need to make some changes.
What, you need more enforcement powers?
No, we need to remove the restriction to Delta 9 THC, and it needs to just say THC if that's the intent.
Okay. And in our committee sub here, it just defines THC to include Delta 8, 9, 10, and 11. I was asking you yesterday what was the Ag Department's position on that, and you said that's a policy decision. We
That's
can
right.
handle it if you all decide you want to
Right.
capture all the THC components or isomers or not.
That's correct.
Okay.
I agree with that.
And I put the packaging levels in there at your request. I mean, your personal request, you wanted 10 milligrams per serving and 150 milligrams per package.
I'm afraid I don't remember that conversation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I need to talk to the Legislative Council. That's where I got it from. I thought they had an email from you. Maybe it came from somebody else.
I think it may have.
Okay.
I actually probably would have, I do have language for that. I probably would have structured it a little bit differently.
How would you do that? How many milligrams per serving would
Well,
you think is safe
I
for
think
Georgians?
10 is fine, right?
Okay.
It's when we look at the total container.
How much do you think would be appropriate for a total container?
Well, you can do it at 100, but what's important here is that you have to separate out, you have to address the fact that you could have 10 gummies in a jar, or you could have one giant gummy that's supposed to contain 10 servings, and it's not, they aren't separated. There's no indication that these are separate servings. I think that
It's safer for them to be separate servings, right? Okay.
and I actually have drafted some language that specifically addresses that.
What would you prefer it to say? If we
Well-
were to take your language, how would it read on the limitations in milligrams per serving and per package?
I don't have it in front of me. I don't want to misspeak because, words matter, but we would address the total percentage that could be included. We would address total milligrams per serving. We would address total milligrams per container.
All right, let's just talk about those two issues for
Okay.
now. How many would you want to limit it to per serving?
I think the standard is about 10 milligrams.
All right, and how many
across-
milligrams would you like to restrain it to per package?
I
If they're 10 milligram servings, how many servings do you want us to allow in a package?
I think 15 would be okay.
So 150 milligrams per
But,
package.
but I really feel like that's more, again, this is more of one of those policy decisions.
I know, that's why y'all are the experts. We're letting you control this field, and I want to know what y'all think is safe to protect our children and people from overdosing on stuff.
So I would introduce it somewhere between 250 and 100, somewhere in that range.
Okay, so I got the low end
But I
of the
haven't had
range.
any industry feedback on that. This is just me speaking about it publicly for the first time, and we didn't introduce this because we didn't think we were quite ready to have that conversation. So it hasn't been much of a conversation within the community here in Georgia yet.
Well, your department has got about 5 different hemp bills in all kind of different committees throughout the legislature. Have y'all thought about these issues before you're asking for this responsibility?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we
Okay.
have. We specifically, though, did not address this particular issue at this time.
Okay. Any questions from committee members? Senator Summers?
Ms. Russell, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Isn't it true that if you limit it to 10 milligrams in a package and you have 10 gummies in a package, or 100 milligrams, whatever you want to say it, I mean, they're going to wind up, number one, that's the cost factor is there for the packaging. Number two, wouldn't it be true that the person that needs more is going to continue taking gummies, trying to get their pains to go away, and therefore, by the time they take 3 or 4 10 milligram gummies, they got 30 milligrams, 40 milligrams of gummies in their system, and then they're way overdosed, I guess is my point to telling you that. So if we limit it down to that amount, isn't it true that would cause harm on taking it that way? And if you limit it down to 10 gummies per package, they're just going to buy more packages.
I think the consuming public will purchase and consume what they choose to.
Absolutely. Thank
I do
you.
agree with that.
Senator Summers, you're in the industry. What do you think is an appropriate amount of milligrams per serving and per container?
When you're talking, thank you, Mr. Chairman, when you're talking about 0.3%, Mr. Chairman, you can remediate that down to basically anything you need to remediate down. You'd probably be talking about a 20 milligram gummy will give a person some relief from pain. A 20 milligram will. Some people will take 25, but 20 will do it. And you need to have at least 20 in a package to be able to give people what they want, or they're just going to take more gummies. So you need at least that.
You got any idea why Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and many other states limit it to 10 milligrams per serving?
Because it's the mixture of the mix, Mr. Chairman. I'm assuming that's what they're doing, the difference of
Okay.
it.
Senator, again, you're recognized for question of the speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't want to get too far into the drug business or medical procedures, but, you know, I suffer from allergies, and so there's this green pill that they sell me at the drugstore that sometimes helps me with the cough and things that are associated with it. And when I look at these pills, the way that they're packaged is they're in single-dose packages. Said that you can break apart and you take a dose, and then you got 4 hours, or you take another dose or something like that. To fix this whole problem, why wouldn't we just say, hey, look, let's put it into single-dose packages that you have to do and something along those lines. I don't know if that's cost prohibitive or not, or what that would do to the market, but for me, that way somebody could. Even with my bad eyesight, I know, okay, well, that's a dose that I can take and don't have to read the label directions too hard.
I've heard feedback from law enforcement that they actually would like to see individual wrappers on gummies or other medium by which people consume THC. I don't think that it's totally outlandish. I do think that we would probably need to talk to people that are in the industry about what the cost would be. That is something that we've been paying attention to, but have not gathered the feedback from the community yet that we feel like we would need.
Senator Summers thinks he can
I
assist in
think
that
I can help
answer.
you with that, Senator. Again, you got gummies will come in gel caps, they'll come in gummies, they'll come in tinctures. And the fact with the tincture factor is, it comes in a bottle of your oil, and you can take more of it, and there's no way to measure it out. It's an eyedropper type situation. So if you package them individually, I don't think that's going to achieve what you're trying to do. They're just going to have them in that bottle or the tincture, if you don't mind.
Right, other questions? Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think it's time for a little comic relief. Aviva, are you here? And is Mr. Scribbles here? Whatever. All right. How did she sign up if she wasn't here? Yeah. Where's Squiggles or whatever? Oh, he's a little slow getting out of bed this morning. All right.
We know how he feels, don't we?
Yolanda Bennett, you're with the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. You can sit there at witness 2 if you'd like to, just for your convenience. I appreciate you being here the other day and your patience. We just having a hard time to get all these bills heard.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address the committee today. My name is Yolanda Bennett, and my journey to stand before you, well, I'm sitting now, has been both unique and challenging. For 7.5 years, I served as a correctional officer, a role that taught me to be profound and importance of rules, regulations, and safety of our community. Following my service, I embarked on a new path as a truck driver, where for 13.5 years, I crisscrossed this great country, navigating through vast experiences that diverse tapestry of America. This career was not my only broaden my horizon, but also diverse tapestry of American life. This career, I'm sorry, it's some other things going on, so forgive me. However, this chapter of my life came to an abrupt end when my health took a tragic turn, forcing me to the industry that had become a significant part of my identity. As someone who has also lived by the principles of duty and resilience, the transition to my life, dictated by chronic health conditions, was a stark and unwelcome change. It was during the challenging period that I discovered the critical role of cannabis and CBD products, THC, hemp products, managing my condition. These products, which I accessed through CBD stores, became my lifeline, offering relief and semblance of normalcy in my life. The debate surrounding HB1322, its impact resonates deeply to me, particularly because of my background. I understand the necessity of regulations to ensure safety and order, a lesson ingrained in me throughout my career in corrections and a truck driver. However, I also stand before you as a testament to essential need for patient access to affordable cannabis treatments. Cannabis, I do say cannabis, but I consider cannabis and hemp to be the same thing because it's one plant. The CBD stores that now are under threat have been pillars of support for countless patients like me, providing quality products long before medical cannabis dispensaries became an option in Georgia. While I commend the intentions behind the proposed packaging changes in HB 1322 aimed at preventing confusion of non-THC containing name brand products, I must express my concern for this bill's broader implications. The reality of my medical needs requires access to various THC treatment beyond the low-dose THC products at my medical dispensary offers, and a price point that doesn't exaggerate my financial burdens. To safeguard against unintended access by minors, I firmly believe in the effectiveness of stringent ID verification process, a responsibility that should be shared by the retailers and adults alike. For outlets like gas stations where specialty knowledge is less common, mandatory certifications and education about hemp and THC could ensure responsible selling practices. In sharing my story, I hope to illuminate the complex needs of patients navigating life with serious health conditions. Our access to essential affordable care should not be collateral damage in the pursuit of regulations. Let us find a path forward that upholds the safety of our communities while preserving the dignity and well-being of patients. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here with us today.